What's up? Wrestling vs. family. The impossible just happened. The unthinkable just went down. Jacob Fatu just destroyed Brock Lesnar in the most shocking beatdown in WWE history. The Beast Incarnate just got conquered by the Samoan werewolf. Hit subscribe now because you're about to witness history. Jacob Fatu just did what many thought was impossible. He absolutely demolished Brock Lesnar in a display of dominance that has the entire wrestling world in complete shock. This wasn't a competitive match, this was a one-sided destruction that nobody saw coming. Let's break down this earth-shattering moment. Before we dive into this historic beatdown, let's set the stage for why this is so monumental. Brock Lesnar is the final boss of WWE. The Beast Incarnate has conquered everyone. He ended The Undertaker's WrestleMania streak. He's dominated world champions. He's a legitimate former UFC heavyweight champion. Brock doesn't get destroyed. He does the destroying. For years, Brock Lesnar has been presented as virtually unstoppable. His matches are typically one-sided affairs where he tosses opponents around with suplexes and F5s. Very few wrestlers have ever truly dominated Brock in a physical confrontation. That's what makes what Jacob Fatu just did so absolutely incredible and shocking. Now Jacob Fatu, the Samoan werewolf, is no ordinary competitor. He's part of the legendary Anoa family, wrestling royalty that's produced multiple generations of champions. But what makes Jacob unique is his combination of power, agility, and sheer intensity. At nearly 300 pounds, he moves like a cruiserweight and hits like a freight train. The tension between Jacob and Brock had been building for weeks. Both men are alphas, both are physical specimens, and both believe they're the most dominant force in WWE. The verbal exchanges had been intense, but everyone wondered, what would happen when these two finally got physical? The confrontation happened on SmackDown in the most unexpected way. Brock Lesnar was in the ring cutting one of his rare promos with Paul Heyman. The Beast was talking about his dominance, about how nobody in WWE could match him physically. That's when Jacob Fatu's music hit. The crowd erupted as Jacob walked out with purpose and intensity. This wasn't a scheduled match. This was about to be a fight. Jacob walked to the ring slowly, never taking his eyes off Brock. The tension was suffocating as these two titans stood face to face in the center of the ring. Paul Heyman tried to talk Jacob down, positioning himself between the two behemoths. But Jacob shoved Heyman aside. This wasn't about words anymore. Brock and Jacob started exchanging heated words, getting nose to nose, and everyone in the arena knew violence was about to erupt. Brock shoved Jacob first. That was the spark that ignited the explosion. Jacob shoved Brock back even harder, and suddenly these two were throwing bombs. Massive forearms, brutal strikes, the impact of each blow echoing through the arena. The crowd was going absolutely insane. But then something shocking happened, something nobody expected. Jacob was matching Brock strike for strike, and then he started gaining the upper hand. A devastating superkick caught Brock flush on the jaw and staggered the Beast. The crowd gasped. Nobody staggers Brock Lesnar like that. Jacob didn't give Brock a second to recover. He grabbed Lesnar and delivered a massive Samoan drop that shook the entire ring. Brock crashed hard, and for the first time, he looked vulnerable. Jacob wasn't done. He pulled Brock up and hit another Samoan drop. The Beast Incarnate was being manhandled. Security and officials started flooding the ring, trying to separate these two. But Jacob fought through them like they weren't even there. His singular focus was destroying Brock Lesnar. He broke free from the officials and went right back after the Beast with relentless aggression. Jacob grabbed Brock and whipped him into the corner with tremendous force. Before Brock could react, Jacob charged in with a devastating hip attack that crushed Lesnar in the corner. The impact was brutal, and Brock slumped down in the corner, clearly hurt and dazed. The crowd was in absolute disbelief. Brock Lesnar, was being dominated. Jacob pulled Brock out of the corner and delivered a thunderous clothesline that turned the Beast inside out. Brock hit the mat hard, and Jacob stood over him, roaring to the crowd. But Jacob wasn't finished making his statement. He climbed to the second rope while officials continued trying to intervene. With Brock laid out, Jacob leapt off with a massive splash that drove all his weight onto Lesnar. The ring shook from the impact, and Brock was gasping for air. More officials and security rushed in, finally managing to pull Jacob away. But the damage was done. Brock Lesnar was laid out in the center of the ring, barely moving. Jacob broke free one more time and delivered his signature Samoan spike to a prone Brock Lesnar. The Beast was completely out. Jacob stood tall in the center of the ring as officials tended to Brock. The Samoan werewolf raised his arms in triumph, and the crowd was absolutely electric. They had just witnessed the impossible. Jacob Fatu had destroyed Brock Lesnar. The visual was stunning. The Beast Incarnate laid out while Jacob celebrated. Paul Heyman was beside himself, screaming at officials and checking on Brock. The shock on Heyman's face mirrored what everyone was feeling. His client, the unstoppable Brock Lesnar, had just been systematically destroyed by Jacob Fatu. The unthinkable had happened. As Jacob finally left the ring, medical personnel rushed in to check on Brock. The Beast was slow to get up, clearly hurt, and for the first time in years, Brock Lesnar looked mortal. Jacob walked up the ramp, never looking back, having made the biggest statement of his career. Social media exploded immediately. Jacob Fatu was trending worldwide. Wrestling fans couldn't believe what they just witnessed. The clips were going viral everywhere. Everyone was talking about how Jacob just did the impossible. He made Brock Lesnar look human. Let's analyze why this beatdown was so significant and shocking. First, Brock's mystique has been carefully protected for years. He rarely loses clean, he rarely looks vulnerable, and he never gets destroyed like this. Jacob breaking through that mystique is career-defining and establishes him as an absolute top-tier threat. Second, the physicality was completely believable. Jacob Fatu has the size, strength, and legitimacy to make beating down Brock realistic. He's not a small guy getting lucky, he's a monster who proved he's the bigger monster. That authenticity makes the moment more impactful. Third, the one-sided nature was crucial. If this had been back and forth, it wouldn't have the same impact. Jacob needed to dominate to truly shock the audience. Making Brock look helpless, something we almost never see, creates an unforgettable moment. Fourth, the timing was perfect. Nobody expected this to happen now, in this way. The surprise factor amplifies everything. Shocking moments are what create lasting memories in wrestling, and this was absolutely shocking. From a storytelling perspective, this changes everything. Jacob Fatu just vaulted himself to the top of the WWE hierarchy. You don't destroy Brock Lesnar and remain in the midcard. This demands a main event push, championship opportunities, and premium live event matches. For Brock, this is fascinating character development. How does the Beast respond to being destroyed? Does he become more vicious? Does he doubt himself? Does he seek immediate revenge? This creates compelling storytelling for one of WWE's biggest stars. The match possibilities this creates are absolutely incredible. Jacob versus Brock in a sanctioned match would be massive. Imagine a no-holds-barred match where they can truly unleash a steel cage to contain the violence. Every potential stipulation sounds amazing. The crowd reaction throughout was perfect. Initial shock gave way to excitement as they realized they were watching history. Wrestling fans love seeing the established order disrupted, and Jacob just flipped the entire WWE hierarchy upside down. Business-wise, this is massive for WWE. This segment will be replayed for years. It creates instant buzz and controversy. Ratings for the next show will spike as everyone tunes in to see the fallout. These are the moments that drive business. The physicality both men displayed was incredible. Jacob showed he can hang with the baddest man in WWE. Brock's selling made Jacob look like a killer. Both men elevated each other even though it was one-sided. Paul Heyman's role was perfect too. His shock and dismay added to the moment. Seeing the special counsel, usually so calm and calculating, completely flustered emphasized how unprecedented this beating was. The other wrestlers backstage must be watching this and reevaluating everything. If Jacob Fatu can destroy Brock Lesnar, what does that mean for everyone else? That fear factor Jacob now has is invaluable for his character. Championship implications are obvious. Jacob should be immediately inserted into the world title picture. How can you not give a title shot to the man who destroyed Brock Lesnar? The momentum is there for Jacob to become WWE champion. Looking at WrestleMania implications, this could be the marquee match. Jacob Fatu versus Brock Lesnar with months of build. That's a WrestleMania main event. The rematch would be huge after this initial destruction. The viral potential is enormous. Casual fans who don't watch regularly will see clips of Jacob destroying Brock. That mainstream attention brings new eyes to WWE. These big moments transcend wrestling and reach broader audiences. The respect Jacob just earned from the locker room is immeasurable. Everyone now knows he's not just potential, he's arrived. The veteran wrestlers will respect his dominance, and younger wrestlers will be in awe. Merchandise opportunities just skyrocketed. "I conquered the Beast." Shirts with Jacob's face would fly off shelves. Action figures, collectibles, everything featuring Jacob will sell because of this moment. The international audience is going crazy too. Jacob has fans worldwide, and this moment just expanded his global appeal exponentially. WWE's international markets will respond huge to this. Training and preparation that went into this must have been intense. Both men had to be on point to pull off such a physical segment safely while making it look devastating. The professionalism is evident. The production values were outstanding. Camera angles captured every brutal moment. Crowd shots showed genuine shock. Replays highlighted the most impactful moves. WWE's production team maximized this moment perfectly. Historical context makes this even more significant. Very few wrestlers can say they destroyed Brock Lesnar. Jacob just joined an extremely exclusive club. This will define his legacy forever. The unpredictability factor is refreshing. In an era where everything leaks online, this genuinely shocked people. Wrestling is at its best when it can still surprise us, and this absolutely did. The long-term booking possibilities are endless. Will Brock seek revenge? Will Jacob continue his destruction tour? Will Paul Heyman get involved more directly? Every direction sounds compelling. Alright, Wrestling vs. Family, this is huge and we need your reaction. Were you shocked by Jacob destroying Brock? What should happen next? Will Brock get revenge? Drop all your thoughts in the comments below. If this breakdown matched your excitement about this historic moment, smash that like button. Subscribe to Wrestling Verse for continued coverage of this massive storyline. Turn on notifications because you don't want to miss what happens next. Share this video with everyone. Wrestling fans need to know Jacob Fatu just destroyed Brock Lesnar. This is the kind of moment that defines eras. Let's spread the word. Thank you for being part of this incredible community. I'll see you in the next video where we continue covering the fallout from this earth-shattering moment. Until next time, the Samoan werewolf just conquered the beast. This is Wrestling Verse, and Jacob Fatu just made history. Peace out.